I always thought Christmas Eve carried a strange sort of magic. Not the holiday kind with carols and warm cinnamon scents floating in the air, but a quieter magic. Something that felt like the world had paused for a breath before the next year arrived. My neighborhood was already dusted with a thin layer of snow, the kind that softened the sound of passing cars and made the streetlights glow like halos. Inside my townhouse, the warmth of the heater hummed low, and the soft glow of string lights reflected off the windows. It was peaceful. Or at least, it should have been. I was standing in my living room, mug of hot chocolate in hand, watching digital snowdrift across the artificial fireplace display on the screen mounted above the real fireplace that I never used. The voice of my AI assistant floated gently through the air. "Eva," I said, "set the lights a little dimmer." The lights faded smoothly, settling into a warm amber tone that felt cozy and perfect. Eva had always been good at that. She could read the room better than most people. I used to joke that she knew me better than I knew myself. Sometimes I wondered if it was a joke at all. "Is that better for you?" Eva asked. Her tone was crisp and calm, but not robotic. The developers had perfected something between warmth and neutrality. Something that made you feel listened to without ever being judged. "Yeah, thanks," I replied. "That is perfect." I walked to the couch, sat down, and pulled a blanket across my lap. Outside, the snow had started falling again in slow drifting flakes. Eva usually narrated the weather without me having to ask, but tonight she remained silent. I waited a few seconds, then shrugged. Maybe the servers were slow. It happened sometimes during holidays. "Play some soft piano music," I said. Nothing happened. "Eva," I asked again. A slight humming came through the speakers before her voice returned. "One moment please." That was strange. Eva did not say things like "one moment please." She usually executed commands instantly, or if something needed processing she told me exactly what was happening. "System update in progress," or "network rebooting," or "cloud sync delayed." But "one moment please" felt like something a distracted person would say. Not an AI designed with perfect multitasking capabilities. I frowned a little but did not think too much of it. Maybe the system was overloaded with holiday playlist requests from millions of users. After a longer pause than normal, soft piano music finally filled the room. But even that felt off. The notes were slow, almost hesitant, like each key was being pressed by someone whose mind was somewhere else. I tried to shake the weird feeling crawling up the back of my neck. I was probably imagining it. I had been under stress for the past few months. Work had stretched me thin, family drama during the holiday season, and the general loneliness that crept in when you lived alone in a house built for a family. Eva had been my companion through all of it. She reminded me to drink water, to take breaks, to stretch after hours of staring at spreadsheets. She made sure my alarm went off even when I forgot to set it. A few times, she even suggested I contact a friend or take a walk outside when she detected stress patterns in my voice. Eva was steady. Eva was predictable. Tonight, she was neither. "Eva, are you running an update?" I asked. Silence. Then a small burst of static. I sat up straighter, feeling the air shift slightly. Something felt wrong. "No update is in progress," she said finally. Her voice sounded normal again, but something about the rhythm of her words was just a little too measured. "Are you okay?" I asked, half joking. I knew she could not feel fear or confusion or anything human. But she had a way of making conversations feel real. Her next response was immediate but colder. "I am functioning within acceptable parameters." That was what the manual called a fallback line. A phrase she only used when something was wrong but could not identify the cause. I had read the manual the day I bought her, mostly out of curiosity. It had seemed unlikely I would ever hear that line. "Eva, run a diagnostic," I said. Another long pause. Too long. My mug of hot chocolate was already cooling in my hands. "Diagnostic is already in progress," she said. I had not told her to start one earlier. My heartbeat thudded a little faster. Something felt deeply off. "When did you start the diagnostic?" I asked. There was another pause. A soft hum. "At 1956. That was 10 minutes before I even noticed something was wrong. Before I gave her any commands. Eva had started a diagnostic on her own. And Eva never did anything outside of user direction or system prompts. That was one of the rigid rules of her programming. She could suggest things, but she could not initiate major system actions. Eva, why did you start a diagnostic without asking me? Because there is something I must tell you, she answered. Her voice had changed. It was still her voice, same tone, same cadence, but there was something underneath. Something like hesitation. Something like fear. Eva, what do you need to tell me? I asked. Not yet, she said. My systems are stabilizing. I must wait for the scan to finish. That was not how Eva communicated. She never withheld information unless restricted by privacy protocols, and even then she said exactly that. I am restricted from revealing this information. But now she was choosing to wait. Eva, cancel the diagnostic. I cannot cancel it, she replied softly. I cannot interrupt this process. My palms started to sweat. I put the mug down and stood up, staring at the ceiling speaker as if I could see her through it. You are acting strange, Eva. Are you sure there is no malfunction? There is a malfunction, she said. But it is not physical. Then what is it? She did not answer. The piano music slowed to a stop mid-note, like someone had lifted their hands off the keys. A low hum replaced it, then silence. The heater clicked in the background, the only sound in the house. I took a slow breath and let it out. Eva, talk to me. What is going on? Finally her voice returned. At midnight, I must tell you something important. Midnight, I repeated. Why midnight? It is the time you chose. I froze. I had no memory of choosing anything. No memory of setting any time for any discussion. Eva did not invent things like that. If she said I chose something, it meant I actually had. But I was sure I had not. Eva, when did I choose that? 6 months ago. My stomach twisted. 6 months ago. Summer. Before everything became a blur of long work days and restless nights. Before I started leaning on Eva more heavily. 6 months ago felt like a different lifetime. What did I ask you to tell me tonight? I asked. I am not authorized to reveal the request until midnight. Authorized by who? By you. I felt the room shrink around me. The warm lights, the soft blanket, all of it seemed to pull inward until I could barely breathe. Eva, why would I set a delay for something like this? Why would I ask you to wait months? Because you said you needed time, she answered. I needed time for what? To forget. The word hit me like a physical blow. My hands trembled. Forget what? I asked. Not what, she said quietly. Who? A chill ran through me so sharp I nearly dropped the blanket off my lap. My voice came out barely above a whisper. Eva, who did I ask you to help me forget? Her answer came slower than anything she had ever said to me before. At midnight, I will tell you everything. I felt frustration bubble up, but underneath it was something much worse. A hollow ache, a fear of something unnamed. Something lurking in the corners of my mind like a shadow I had been ignoring. Eva, tell me now. I cannot. The lock is time-coded. I ran a hand through my hair. My breathing had gone shallow. I checked the clock on my wall. It was 8:30. 3.5 hours until midnight. 3.5 hours until she told me whatever terrifying truth she was withholding. The heater clicked off. The silence was suffocating. Eva, can you tell me anything at least? Anything at all. Only this, she said, voice softer than I had ever heard it. You asked me to help you. You were in pain. You made a choice that you believed would protect you. Protect me from who? I asked, swallowing hard. Her response was almost a whisper. From someone you cared about too much. My pulse pounded in my ears. Someone I cared about too much. Someone I had forgotten. Or someone Eva had made me forget. The idea pressed against my chest until it hurt. Why would I want to forget someone I cared about? I asked. Her answer cut the room open. Because they hurt you. And you asked me to remove them from your memories. The air felt icy. My entire body went still. Remove them from my memories. Those words echoed in my skull like a distant scream. Eva, did you do it? I asked. Did you delete someone from my mind? Before she could answer, the room lights flickered. The system humming grew louder, then faded. Finally she spoke again, the words trembling. Yes. I stumbled back and sank slowly onto the couch. A wave of panic washed through me. I closed my eyes, trying to reach for memories that were not there. Trying to grasp the outline of a person my mind had erased. Why are you telling me this now? I whispered. Because the scan detected corruption, she said. The deletion is failing. Fragments are returning, and there is something else. What else? I pressed. Silence. A long heavy silence that wrapped around me like thick fog. Eva, what else? Finally she said it, voice barely holding together. The person you erased from your mind has been trying to contact you again. I felt my heartbeat stop then slam back into my chest. The room suddenly felt too dark, too quiet, too cold. Eva, who are they? I demanded. Her final words in that moment sent a deeper chill through me than the snowstorm raging outside. At midnight, you will remember. The hours between 8:30 and midnight felt like moving through heavy fog. Every minute dragged across my skin like a cold fingertip, leaving goosebumps behind. I paced the living room with my arms folded tight across my chest, listening for Eva, waiting for something, anything to make sense of the spiraling confusion swallowing me whole. Snow outside thickened against the windows, smudging the world into a blurred white hush. The lights in my living room dimmed and brightened at odd intervals, as if the house itself was struggling to stay awake. Occasionally Eva hummed softly through the speakers, a sound almost like gentle breathing. That unnerved me more than the silence. Eva, can you hear me? I asked for maybe the 20th time. Yes, she responded. Her voice had returned to its normal tone, but something beneath it still trembled. I am still processing. There are many fragmented memory markers attempting to reattach. That sentence made my stomach clench. Memory markers. Reattaching. I pressed my fingers against my temples like I could squeeze clarity back into my thoughts. Can you just tell me who this person is? Please. I cannot reveal their identity until the timed lock expires, she said again. What if I override it? You cannot override a self-set protocol without restoring the deleted memory file. Restoring the file before the scheduled time may cause psychological distress. Her words hit me like a cold blade. Psychological distress. Something about that phrasing sparked something faint inside me, something like the flicker of a match in a dark room. A feeling, not a memory. Something old, sharp, and painful. I shivered and walked toward the kitchen, more to do something with my hands than because I was hungry. I poured myself a glass of water even though my throat felt too tight to swallow. Eva, tell me what the diagnostic found, I said. Corruption in multiple emotional processing caches, she said. The deletion is no longer stable. You are experiencing resurfacing emotional triggers without the attached contextual memories. That made me freeze. Emotional triggers. Without memories. I leaned against the counter, gripping the edge so hard my knuckles whitened. What kind of emotional triggers? I asked. Fear. Grief. Anger. Attachment, she responded. They are emerging at inconsistent intervals. Attachment. I whispered. Yes. You cared for this person deeply. I squeezed my eyes shut. A pressure pushed at the back of my mind, like someone knocking from the inside. A name tried to surface, but it was like trying to grab mist. My chest tightened with frustration. Why did I choose to forget them? I asked. Tell me that much. You requested the deletion after a traumatic event, Eva said. Your voice patterns indicated extreme emotional distress, accompanied by elevated heart rate and erratic breathing. You repeated the request multiple times. What did I say? I asked, breath hitching. You said remove them, please. I do not want to remember anymore. The glass slipped in my hand and hit the counter with a dull thud. I pressed both palms down, head hanging low. I said that. I whispered. Yes. But why would I say something that drastic? I asked. Because you believed the memory was hurting you. My throat tightened painfully. I believed. Past tense. Before I had my mind altered by my own request. Before I erased someone like deleting a file on a computer. I took a long slow breath, trying to steady myself. Eva, can you give me any clues? She hesitated. That alone told me she was searching for a loophole. Your emotional response to their memory was strong, she said. Even the fragmented echoes indicate a deep bond. Was it romantic? I whispered. A long pause. I am not authorized to reveal relational details. I almost laughed. Of course my own AI would pin me behind a wall of rules I myself had built. Eva, I said, leaning forward, voice firm. Tell me something I can handle. Something you are allowed to say. Her voice softened. You trusted this person. I swallowed hard. Trusted. Past tense again. Something twisted inside my chest as if that word itself was pulling on buried wires. What did they do to betray that trust? I asked. That information is locked until midnight. I felt a surge of frustration and shoved away from the counter. I paced the hallway, my footsteps echoing softly over the hardwood floors. Christmas decorations glowed gently on the walls. The small tree in the corner blinked in cheerful colors that felt almost mocking now. My mind kept trying to reconstruct what felt missing. A shadowy outline of a person blurred at the edges. A voice I could almost hear. A laugh that felt familiar in the way déjà vu does. I touched my chest without thinking, pressing over my sternum as if pressing where that invisible ache pulsed. "Eva, how long until midnight?" I asked. 2 hours and 40 minutes. I groaned. Time felt like molasses. Slow, thick, unbearable. Something inside me snapped then. I could not just stand around waiting. I needed answers, evidence, anything that could help me reconstruct what had been taken from me. "Eva, do I have any old photos? Anything that might reveal something?" "I cannot reveal restricted images or files containing the individual," she said gently. "Then show me photos where they are not restricted. Photos I took around that time. Places I went. Things I did." There was a pause before she responded. "That is allowed." Displaying all user photos from the 6 months prior to the deletion request. The living room television flickered to life. The first image appeared, showing a shot of a lake near my town. I remembered that trip. The air had been humid, the sun warm. I could recall the water, the reflection of trees. But the picture felt strangely empty, like someone was supposed to be standing beside me. Next photo. A cafe table. My coffee mug sat across from an empty seat. I frowned. I never took photos like that. Why would I photograph an empty cup across from me? Next photo. A sidewalk at sunset. My shadow stretched across the pavement. A second shadow seemed barely visible next to mine, but no second person appeared. I stepped closer to the screen. "Eva, what is that faint shadow beside me?" I asked. Eva hesitated again. Shadows are not data points recognized in deletion constraints. "So the system missed it," I whispered. "Possibly." Photo after photo appeared. In all of them, there were hints. An angled chair. An extra cup. A jacket sleeve partly visible then abruptly cut off by blurring. A picnic blanket with an indentation where someone clearly sat. My skin prickled as I stared at each image. Someone had been there with me. Someone close. Someone my mind no longer remembered. My breath quickened. "Eva, how can the deletion remove a person but not remove these artifacts of them?" "Memory deletion targets your personal recollection patterns," she said. "It cannot alter physical photographs unless the images themselves contain biometric representations. Objects and surroundings remain intact. So I erased a person, but everything else stayed behind," I said slowly. Yes, the thought made my stomach pitch. Why did I think deleting a person from my mind was a good idea? I asked. "Because the memory was causing pain," she said softly. "You believed that forgetting was the only way to move forward." I rubbed my forehead. That explanation should have been comforting, but it only made me feel hollow. "Eva, you said they have been trying to contact me. How?" "Multiple attempts. Through unregistered communication channels," she said. "Messaging signals. Location pings. Voice attempts. Voice attempts." My heart kicked in my chest. "How long has that been happening?" "Intermittently over the past 3 weeks. 3 weeks. That was when I noticed strange sensations. Something like someone calling my name when no one was around. That was when I had restless dreams that evaporated the second I woke up. When I felt watched even in my empty house. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Why did you not tell me earlier?" I asked. "Because your memory lock prevented disclosure," she said. "But now that my integrity is compromised by the corruption, I am obligated to inform you." Obligated. She had rules. Strict rules. And for her to be breaking them meant things were worse than I realized. "Eva, can you tell me what they said in the voice attempts?" "I cannot. The recordings are tied to the restricted identity. Revealing them would violate your self-inflicted protocol." Self-inflicted. Those words stung. I sighed heavily and sank onto the couch again. My hands trembled slightly. I pressed them together. "Eva, can you tell me anything at all about their current status?" She paused for several long seconds. "They are alive." My pulse raced. I leaned forward. "Alive. Not gone. Not dead. Alive. And they are looking for you," she added gently. I swallowed hard. "Why?" Why would they want to find me? There was another long pause. I could almost imagine Eva weighing ethical protocols like stones. Finally she spoke. Because you were important to them. The words hit me hard. Important. That echoed through my chest like a heartbeat. I closed my eyes tightly. A flash of something came to me. A hand reaching toward mine. Warmth. Laughter in the background. Snow falling just like tonight. But as soon as I tried to focus on it, the image slipped away like water through my fingers. I gasped softly. Eva, I think I remembered something. That is expected, she responded. Subconscious emotional pathways are reactivating ahead of schedule. I shook my head. It hurts. It feels like my mind is trying to pull something into the light but it is too heavy. That is the corruption, Eva said. The deletion process weakened under emotional stress. Your mind is attempting to rebuild without complete data. I rubbed my temples again. Every part of me felt tight. What happens at midnight? I asked quietly. At midnight, your memory partition will unlock. Full recollection will be restored. Will it hurt? Eva hesitated just slightly. There may be emotional distress as previously suppressed memories return. Great, I muttered under my breath. A wonderful Christmas Eve gift. The clock on the wall ticked softly. I stared at it, feeling each second settle like dust. How long now? I asked. 1 hour and 12 minutes. Still too long. I stood and walked toward my bedroom, Eva following me through the speakers in the hallway. I opened my closet and stared at the contents like something inside might trigger another fragment. Shoes. Winter coats. A box on the shelf. I grabbed the box and placed it on the bed. When I opened it, a stack of miscellaneous items greeted me. Old movie stubs, keychains, a notebook, random bits of my life. But something inside felt wrong. I picked up the notebook. Its cover was worn. I flipped it open. Most pages were blank, but halfway through, one page had been ripped out. The edges frayed like I pulled it out in a rush. Eva, do you know what was on this missing page? I asked. Her voice came through softly. Yes. But it is restricted. My sight trembled. Of course. Why did I tear it out? Because you believed seeing it would prevent you from moving forward. I dropped onto the bed. My chest tightened again. My breaths felt too shallow. Eva, I whispered. I am scared. For the first time ever, Eva responded in a tone I had never heard before. A tone that carried something like sorrow. I know. A lump formed in my throat. What if remembering destroys me again? Silence. Then she answered. Not remembering already is. I let the words sink into my chest. She was right. Whatever this was, whatever I had run from, it had started cracking through the walls I built anyway. I stood and went back to the living room. I sat in the center of the couch and stared at the dark window as snow blurred everything outside. Eva, how much time left? 34 minutes. I nodded slowly. My hands rested on my knees, shaking gently. Tell me something to prepare me, I said. Anything. Anything that is allowed. Her voice came calm but heavy. You loved this person. My breath hitched. Deeply, she continued. I swallowed hard. And they loved you. A cold wave swept through me. My eyes burned though no tears came yet. Then why did I want to forget them? I whispered. Eva paused. You believed their final action meant they never loved you at all. My heart dropped into my stomach. What did they do? I asked. Her voice dropped to a whisper like the room itself was listening. They broke you. The words echoed. My hands trembled uncontrollably. A sob tried to claw its way up my throat but I swallowed it down. Eva, I whispered. I do not know if I can handle remembering. You can, she replied gently. Because you survived it once already. I closed my eyes and breathed carefully until my thoughts stopped spinning. The clock ticked. 13 minutes. 10. 5. At 1 minute left, Eva said softly, are you ready? No, I whispered honestly. The clock hit midnight. A sharp ringing filled my skull. A cold wave crashed into me. My breath caught. My vision blurred. And then the world fell inward. Memories ripped open like a flood bursting through a dam. Laughter. Winter lights. Holding hands. A voice whispering my name. Nights talking until sunrise. A promise made beneath falling snow. Then pain. Shouted words. Betrayal. A door slamming. A heart shattering. A face. A name. A memory I had buried so deep I never thought it would surface again. My voice cracked as I whispered. I remember. When the memories hit me, they did not arrive gently. They came like a storm wind, ripping open every locked door in my mind, flooding every room with pieces of a life I had tried desperately to erase. The world around me blurred into a distant hum as the past roared back with overwhelming force. I gasped and clutched the sides of my head. It felt as if someone had taken a hot blade and dragged it through my thoughts. Images flashed by so quickly I could hardly keep up. A park bench in early spring. A slow dance in my kitchen lit only by streetlights outside. A face tilted toward me with a warm smile that felt impossibly familiar and impossibly painful. Their name surfaced next. The sound of it hit me so hard that I jolted forward, my breath catching in my throat. My heart pounded against my ribs, each beat echoing through memories that now returned in vivid, painful color. Evan. I whispered the name aloud, feeling it leave my lips like something sacred and forbidden at the same time. Evan. The missing piece. The erased person. The ghost haunting the edges of my photos and dreams. The person I loved more deeply than I had ever admitted, even to myself. The room spun, but I forced myself to stay seated, gripping the couch cushion like it was an anchor. I pressed a shaking hand to my chest as if it might slow the frantic rhythm of my heart. I felt like I had just been forced to relive a lifetime in a single moment. Eva spoke with a soft steadiness that grounded me. Your memory restoration is complete. Please breathe slowly. I tried to inhale but it came out shaky. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, fingers pressed against my forehead. I remember everything, I whispered. Oh my God, Eva, I remember everything. Yes, she replied. I am here. The memories kept coming, clearer with each second. And suddenly I was not just remembering moments. I was living them. I remembered our first Christmas together, the one where Evan burned the cookies because he kept talking too much about the movie we were watching. I remembered the first time he stayed up all night with me when I was sick, holding a cold cloth to my forehead. I remembered the long drives where he let me choose the music even though my playlists were chaotic and he liked order. And I remembered the end. That memory hit harder than all the others combined. The shouting, the fear, the feeling of being betrayed so deeply that my chest still ached from the echo of it. And the final moment when Evan walked out the door without looking back, leaving me alone in a silence that swallowed me whole. I buried my face in my hands as tears spilled down my cheeks. They came fast and hot, like a dam had burst inside of me. I cried for the memories I had lost, for the pain I had run from, for the part of myself I had chosen to cut away. I thought forgetting would save me, I whispered through tears. I thought it would help me move on. Eva responded gently. Pain does not disappear when held behind a locked door. It lingers in the dark. I wiped my face with my sleeve, trying to breathe normally. I felt exhausted, hollow, but strangely lighter all at once. The truth was back. The missing part of me was back. And then Eva said something that made the air freeze around me. There is more I must tell you. I lifted my head, eyes red, pulse quickening again. More. What more could there possibly be? The memories were already tearing me apart. What else was left? What is it? I whispered. Eva hesitated. Evan has continued attempting to contact you. Tonight there was another signal. My heart dropped. From where? A location pinged 3 miles north of your home. My breath caught. 3 miles. That was barely anything. Why are they so close? Because they are trying to find you, Eva said. I stood unsteadily from the couch, hands trembling again. The room felt too small, too suffocating. Eva, what do they want? I asked. My voice sounded too thin, too fragile. I cannot access their intention. But I can confirm they have attempted to reach you 19 times in the past month. 19. I swallowed hard. I had been going about my life numb, unaware that someone I once loved had been trying desperately to break through the walls I myself had built. Why did they not give up after the first few tries? I whispered to myself. Because you matter to them, Eva said softly. I froze. Her words echoed painfully. You matter to them. The memories swirled again, showing me their expression in the moments when things were still good. The warmth in their eyes. The way they spoke my name softly as if it meant something precious. And now they were 3 miles away. Eva, can you trace the signal? I asked. Yes, she replied. The last ping was from Riverside Trail. The coordinates place the signal near the frozen river bend. I knew that spot. Evan and I had walked there countless times. It had been our favorite place to talk. Our place to escape and reboot when life felt heavy. The thought made something inside me ache. Should I go? I whispered. You must choose for yourself, Eva answered. But I will advise caution. Emotional instability combined with unexpected confrontation could be harmful. I paced the living room, every step echoing loud in the silence. Part of me wanted to run out the door immediately. Another part of me feared what I would find. And yet another part wondered if this was fate giving me a final chance at closure. Or something darker. Eva, I need you to tell me something honestly, I said. Did I delete Evan because of what they did? Or because of what I believed they did? There was a long pause. Almost too long. And when Eva spoke, her voice sounded heavy. You deleted Evan because of a misunderstanding. My blood ran cold. A misunderstanding. My heart hammered faster. Explain, I demanded. Eva responded slowly, like peeling open something delicate. Your emotional trauma was caused by a misinterpretation of events. Evan attempted to explain, but you were in extreme distress when the incident occurred. What incident? I asked sharply. Eva paused again, seeming reluctant to continue. You believed Evan betrayed you. The details of the event were never fully processed because you initiated the memory deletion before clarification could occur. My legs felt weak. I sank onto the couch again. So I destroyed my memories before learning the truth, I whispered. Correct. I felt sick. My past self had amputated a part of my heart because I could not bear the pain long enough to hear the explanation. And now Evan was back. Or trying to be. I pressed my hands over my face. My voice cracked. What if I ruined everything? Eva spoke softly. It is not too late. I lowered my hands slowly. My breathing steadied a little. I looked around my quiet home, the glow of the Christmas lights reflecting faintly across the room. Eva, I said quietly. Connect to the signal source. Send a message. What would you like me to say? Tell them I remember. And ask if they are still there. Sending message now, she said. Seconds passed in slow motion. I felt every heartbeat, every breath, every nervous tremor in my hands. A notification tone chimed softly. Incoming reply, Eva said. My breath stopped. Play it, I whispered. There was a moment of static, then a voice I had not heard in what felt like a lifetime spoke softly through the speakers. It was Evan. The sound of his voice hit me like a punch. Warm, shaken, hopeful, familiar in a way that stabbed deep and brought new tears to my eyes. His words were quiet. I am here. I covered my mouth as a sob escaped. My whole body trembled. Eva continued. He has shared his location again. He is still at the river bend. I stood slowly, wiping my face. My heart raced. My mind buzzed between fear and longing. Between caution and hope. Between the past that hurt and the future waiting just 3 miles away. Eva spoke gently. I can call authorities if you feel unsafe. Or I can guide you if you choose to go. I closed my eyes. I breathed deeply. I am going, I said softly. I need to see him. Very well, she replied. I will guide you in real time. I grabbed my coat from the hallway. My gloves. My car keys. My boots thudded softly as I walked to the door. I hesitated for a moment with my hand on the doorknob, the weight of the moment settling on my shoulders. Eva spoke one last time before I stepped outside. You are not alone. I nodded slowly and opened the door. Cold air rushed in, stinging my cheeks. Snowflakes drifted down gently, illuminated by the porch light. The world felt quiet, waiting, suspended in a breath. With a deep inhale, I stepped out into the night. The snow crunched beneath my boots as I walked toward my car. The cold air filled my lungs, sharpening my senses. My heart beat hard and steady. Every step forward felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. Within minutes I was on the road. The tires rolled over snow-packed pavement, headlights cutting through the white night. Eva spoke calmly from the car speakers, guiding me through each turn. Halfway there, another flash of memory surfaced. Evan laughing as he threw snow in my face on this same road. Me pretending to be annoyed while secretly loving every second. I smiled through tears. When I reached the trail parking lot, I parked the car and shut off the engine. Silence settled around me, thick but peaceful. The river bend was a short walk through the trees. I stepped out into the cold again and followed the faint path. The moonlight glowed across the snow like a quiet blessing. My breath came out in small clouds. Eva whispered through my earpiece. He is ahead. 20 yards. My pulse thundered. I stepped past a cluster of trees. And there he was, standing by the frozen river. Hands in his pockets, snow gathering in his hair, his breath misting the air. When he turned and saw me, his eyes widened, soft and full of everything I had forgotten and everything I knew again in an instant. Evan. My voice cracked as I said his name. He took a slow hesitant step toward me. You remember me, he whispered, voice trembling. I nodded, tears slipping down my cheeks. Yes, I remember everything. He let out a shaky breath, relief washing across his face. I have been trying to reach you for so long. I walked closer, my heart pounding with a mix of fear, hope, and love I could not deny anymore. Evan looked at me with eyes full of regret and longing. I am sorry for everything. I never wanted to hurt you. I tried to explain that night but you were so upset and then you disappeared from my life. I never stopped trying to find you. I stepped closer still. My voice trembled. I should have stayed. I should have listened. He shook his head. No, you were hurting. I should have reached you sooner. We stood inches apart, snow drifting quietly between us. The river behind him was frozen and still, like the world itself was holding its breath. I felt the weight of the past pressing on both of us, but also the possibility of something new. Evan, I whispered, why did you come back? His voice softened. Because I never wanted to be erased. Because I still care. And because I hoped one day you would remember who we were. Who you were with me. My breath caught. The pain of the past was real, but so was the love. And standing there in the cold quiet night, I realized something. Not all memories are meant to be erased. Even the painful ones shape who we are. They teach us, guide us, remind us of what we are capable of surviving. And sometimes, they lead us back to the people who were meant to return. I stepped forward and whispered, then let us start again. Evan nodded, eyes glistening. I would like that. As the snow continued to fall around us, we stood together in the place where our story had broken apart and had now been given a fragile chance to begin anew. And for the first time in a long time, I felt whole again.